What's that?
You always bless a new home with 3 gifts. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, but you only have 1 gift.
Only to the untrained eye. Why don't you go get unpacked?
Sure, where do I go?
I don't know. Pick a room. Just not that one.
I thought it was pretty good and interesting horror short. It had a really great approach to pacing and tension that really sort of contributed to like a real sort of ethereal and spiritual mood, especially early on in the piece before you actually know what's going on and why the girls are there and what the actual plan is. I thought that it was a really great naturalistic approach to the acting by both characters that really made it feel realistic and sort of made it seem accessible. The idea you go on a little trip and you don't really know um, what the potential can go wrong there, but you are there on the assumption that it's like a good time and it's fun. Everybody wants you to be there, and I thought there was a good play at the end where you realize it's sort of a cult situation and she's there almost as sacrifice, and it really contributed to working towards the end because of the beginning. It had to build up to it in such a smart way through the cinematography that always lets you know that there was something sinister going on beneath. And I thought the lead actress in particular had a really great balance of sort of being sinister, even though she seemed incredibly polite and nice. So I thought it was a well done piece. It had a good sense of style and pacing, and I thought it ended up working well, especially in the short amount of time.
A great look at creating character within the thriller genre. I think you do a great job of pulling on these tropes of like distrust and like, but also being wounded and like needing that, and um, where's that central like community. So you're constantly wondering throughout the entire piece, like, who can this woman trust? And that brings up a lot of questions for the audience, which makes them wonder, and it makes everything all the more intense. Very, very well acted by the main lead as well. I think it was really dynamic to watch. I think it was a really great story. I think it was paced well, and you do a great job of establishing a lot within such a short amount of time. And I also think the pacing was done really, really well with sound. With some of the editing, it was very good, but I think the sound and the way you put that to use here made it all the more like jumpier and moved along better, and so much more suspenseful.
It starts off pretty innocent, and then gradually things start to get very suspicious. I loved that gradual descent into, something is wrong. I also really liked that there are subtle hints throughout, even at the beginning, that there's something off about this girl and where she's bringing her, and you just feel like there's something that may be wrong. Like breaking down the door was weird, or slowly stripping off a dress to then give as a gift was weird, and you know, for there being a forbidden door was also sort of a red flag that maybe something was up. So I liked those subtle hints throughout. I thought the acting was really great. The ending itself gave me the chills, and to roll credits on that as it's happening was, spine chilling. And I think the music also helped a lot with that.
I really like the idea, like the concept of like, and the way that she executed it of like dropping hints, dropping hints, dropping hints until the final reveal, having the audience asking questions like, "What does this mean? What does this mean?" Like drawing us in. But and the way, so I like that technique and that concept. And then also I liked the sound design, because I feel like sound design is everything in a film like this, where it's like when you're trying to create an eerie vibe like this. I think the sound design really carried on that. So
Two friends enter the home, one under the belief that when you visit a space, you are to bring 3 gifts to the home, and she gives the strong word of advice. You can stay anywhere you'd like, but you must not open this particular door. So it makes sense for this other character to meet her demise upon entering this very door. For when she enters this room, it's sort of revealed to her that she herself is actually, in actuality, the third gift. For we have the curtains to kind of be revealed to us as we realize we have sort of walked into a sacrifice ritual within a cult following. This brings a sense of kind of traditional folklore storytelling here, stating that this is the superstition, kind of igniting our Chekhov's gun, so to speak. And as the story goes on, when it goes off, nothing good can come from it. In the scenario, it kills her.
It is clear that this horror has been shot in with care towards the details. In fact, there is the setup that we have in the short is very interesting and title as well, Three Gifts, and obviously we get to understand in the end the gifts. I really love the final twist, the fact that the father didn't die and he was actually the leader of the cult, and then the main character she is indeed the gift, so she's gonna be sacrificed. I felt quite shivering, I would say. It was a scary horror, and it was tense. There was a great cinematography, and at the same time, a perfect music, like spot on, absolutely brilliant.
Great skill when it comes to building tension and dread. You have this very effective use of sound design, but also a very subtly creepy central performance, and pulses with this slight undercurrent threat goes into its hand, which is skillful. You know there's something off here, but you can't quite put your finger on it for most of the film, which I think is a really, really cool effect. And then when it does become clear what's going on, it kind of both makes total sense and a surprise. So that's really skillful as well. And the revelation of three gifts, sort of going one by one, is a very clever device for like building expectation, anticipation, tension. You also don't quite notice that it's ticking away in the background, and then when you finally get to the third gift, you're like, oh yeah, everything falls into place. I think it's smart and creepy.
I love the message of this film of be careful who you trust. You might meet someone like she did at the hospital while going through cancer treatment, and sometimes you can't even trust the people you think are your friends. It's a good message to put out there and very interesting to do it in the horror genre. I loved it. This film was very suspenseful. The acting of the actresses were top notch. They had great where you knew that one was psycho, and with a naive friend, it's always a good premise to start with a horror film. So I really did enjoy this. It's that with the music and everything, you were waiting for a jump scare that never really came, but it was a very psychologically intense, so, which is hard to do in a short film. I love psychological thrillers, and that's kind of what this is in. And I would love for it to be expanded into a feature.